here I am, fresh as a flower, so yeah.
Alexa just came through one of the toughest matches of her young career at the Miami Open. And we are not just talking about a difficult opponent. We are talking about a full psychological war. Siegemund came to that court with every trick she has collected over nearly 2 decades on tour, and she used every single one of them. The stalling, the broken rhythm, the mind games, the whole package. And through all of it, Alex stood tall, kept her head, and walked off that court as the winner after 3 sets in more than 3 hours of intense, grinding, sweaty Miami tennis. If you blinked, you missed the most dramatic match of this tournament so far. This was not just a tennis match. This was a test of character, and Alex passed with flying colors. Before we get deep into everything that happened out there, if you were new here and you love following Alex's journey through the tour, this is the place to be. We break down every match, every moment, every big win and tough loss, and we do it with real detail and real passion. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. We are covering every single step of Alex's Miami run, and trust me, you do not want to fall behind. The Swiatek breakdown alone is going to be something special. Subscribe now and ride with us. Okay, so let's get into what actually happened on that court, because this match deserves a proper breakdown from the very beginning. The final score was 6-7, 6-3, 6-3. 3 sets, 3 hours in the Miami heat against a player who has been on the tour since before Alex was even thinking about tennis professionally. Laura Siegemund is 38 years old. She's currently ranked outside the top 100. But here's the thing about players like her. The ranking number means almost nothing. She is a former top 30 player. She's been around long enough to have seen every situation, every young gun, every rising star come through. She knows exactly what it takes to make life difficult for someone who is still learning what professional tennis is really about. She has slices that hug the court like they've been glued there. She has drop shots that die the moment they bounce. She has timing and variety and patience. And most importantly, she knows how to mess with your head. Against a 20-year-old defending big points in a tournament she loves, Siegemund was always going to be a dangerous opponent, and that is exactly what she turned out to be. The first set was a real battle. Alex was playing well from the start. She was hitting the ball cleanly, moving well, and looking sharp. But Siegemund was doing what she does best, which is slowing everything down, taking her time between points, changing the pace of the match, and making it almost impossible for a younger, more aggressive player to find any kind of rhythm. Every time Alex looked like she was about to take control, Siegemund would do something to shift the tempo. A heavy slice here, a little pause there, a slow walk back to the baseline that eats up just a few more seconds than it needs to. None of it is obviously illegal on its own, but all of it adds up. And when you're Alex, trying to stay aggressive and trust your game against someone who has been playing these tricks longer than you have been alive, it is incredibly hard to stay focused. The first set went to a tiebreak, and Alex had her chances. She really did. You could see moments where she was close to taking control and putting it away, but Siegemund hung in there and eventually took the tiebreak 8-6. First set to Siegemund. And look, when that happens in a match like this, with Alex defending 390 ranking points from her semifinal run here last year, the pressure becomes very real very fast. A lot of players in that situation start to panic. They start thinking about the points, the ranking, what a loss would mean. They stop playing and start surviving, and that is exactly where Siegemund wanted her. Down a set, under pressure, in the heat, against a player who thrives on chaos. But that is where the real Alex showed up, and honestly, watching what happened next was one of those moments where you think, this girl is something special. The second set started, and something had clearly shifted in Alex's mindset. She came out sharper, more focused, and more committed to her game plan. She got the early break, went up 2-1, and then it happened. The moment that everyone who watched this match is going to remember for a long time. Alex was in her service motion. She had already started the action of tossing the ball to begin her serve, And in that exact moment, Siegemund turned around and walked away from the return position, back toward the fence at the back of the court. She just stopped everything before the point could even begin. Now, if you follow tennis closely, you probably know that Siegemund has issues with the shot clock throughout her entire career. She has been warned about it many times. She has a reputation for taking her time. But walking away while her opponent is literally mid-service motion, that is taking things to another level. That is not just being slow, that is deliberately trying to get inside someone's head. It's calculated, it's bold, and against a younger player in a big match, it can absolutely work. And you could see it affect Alex in that moment. She caught the ball, stood there for a second, and the look on her face said everything. It was that kind of confused, disbelieving look that comes when someone does something so unexpected you almost cannot process it. For a split second, you wondered if this was going to throw her off, if this was going to be the moment the wheels came off. But instead of getting rattled, instead of letting frustration take over and making a mistake on the next point, Alex did something that showed incredible maturity for a 20-year-old. She walked straight over to the chair umpire, calmly, no screaming, no throwing her racket, no dramatic meltdown. She just walked over and said what needed to be said. She told the umpire that Siegemund was delaying, that it had happened many times, and that she wanted the umpire to watch the time more carefully. And when the umpire said that Siegemund still had a few seconds left on the clock, Alex did not back down. She explained clearly that she had already been in her service motion when Siegemund turned away, and that was the issue. That right there is a 20-year-old standing in the middle of a professional tennis court and refusing to be pushed around. She was not angry, she was not emotional, she was clear, direct, and firm. She knew what had happened, she knew it was not okay, and she said so to the person in charge. The umpire essentially acknowledged both players, telling Alex he would watch the situation, but also reminding her to keep an eye on her own clock. It was one of those moments where the official is basically saying, "I hear you and I am watching." The message was received. And from that point on, Siegemund's tactics stopped working the way they had in the first set. Alex was onto her, the umpire was on alert, and Alex refocused completely on her tennis. She did not just win the second set, she dominated it, 6-3. Clean, disciplined, controlled tennis. She took the momentum back completely and basically sent a message that said, "You can try all the tricks you want, but I am not going to let you dictate how this match goes." Going into the third set with the momentum on her side, Alex could have relaxed, but Siegemund is not the kind of player who just gives up. Veterans almost never do. When they lose the psychological battle, they either fall apart completely or they dig deeper and make you earn every single game. Siegemund dug deeper. She broke back early in the third set to level it at 1-1, and the tension in that stadium went right back up. The crowd in Miami was very much behind Alex, and you could feel how much their energy meant to her. But even with that support, she had to navigate a very tricky stretch of tennis. Siegemund was still putting those low slices out there that hugged the court and forced Alex to get really low and patient. She was trying to drag Alex into errors, trying to get her to go for too much too soon, and against most players, those kinds of tactics in a tight third set would cause problems, but Alex stayed patient. At 1-1, she went into a long and intense battle for the next game and came out with the break, up 2-1. Then she pushed it to 3-1, and from that point she never looked back. Closed it out 6-3 in the third. Match over. 3 hours of tennis, and Alex walked off that court with the win and a place in the round of 32. Now let's talk about what this win actually showed in terms of how Alex's game has developed, because this is important and a lot of people are going to gloss over it in favor of just talking about the drama with Siegemund. The drama was real and it matters, but the tennis underneath the drama was genuinely impressive. A year ago, Alex was primarily a power player. She had that big forehand, she liked to return aggressively, and she could overpower a lot of players with pure pace and athleticism. That is still a big part of her game, but what she showed against Siegemund is that she has added real layers to how she plays. Against someone who uses pace and puts low slices out there that hug the court and force Alex to get really low and patient, you cannot just blast your way through. You have to be disciplined. You have to be willing to work in long rallies and wait for the right moment. You have to move your opponent around and set up the winner rather than just going for it off any ball that comes your way. Watch the highlights from the third set and you will see exactly what I mean. Siegemund was repeatedly floating soft, low slices that were designed to get Alex to reach and overhit. A year ago, Alex might have tried to rip those balls for outright winners and ended up hitting the net or going long, but in this match, she was patient. She used her own variety. She moved Siegemund from side to side, kept the ball in play, and waited until the opening was big enough to really go for it, and then she went for it. That is high-level tennis. That is not just hitting the ball hard and hoping for the best. That is actually solving the puzzle that your opponent is presenting to you. The physical side of things was also remarkable. 3 hours in the Miami humidity is no joke. Playing against someone who makes you run for low balls and engage in 20-shot rallies for half the points on the court is exhausting, and yet Alex looked like she had more energy at the end of the match than she did at the start. Her movement was still sharp, her hitting was still clean, her decision-making was still clear. That is the result of serious physical preparation and conditioning. It is not an accident. It is the product of hard work, and it is one of the main reasons she's sitting at 24th in the 2026 race. She is simply outworking most of the people around her.
Her statistics from the Siegemund match back all of this up. She landed 72% of her first serves in during that match. That is an elite number under any circumstances, but especially in a 3-hour match in the heat against someone who is actively trying to disrupt your rhythm. She had only 28 unforced errors for the entire match. When you consider how many balls Siegemund put back that were designed to invite mistakes, 28 unforced errors over 3 sets is genuinely impressive. It shows that Alex was staying disciplined and focused even when the temptation to go for too much was right there in front of her. And she converted 5 of her 9 breakpoint opportunities. That is over 55%. When you get a chance to break someone's serve, you have to take it. Alex did exactly that at the moments that mattered most. Now let's talk about what comes next, because this is where things get really exciting. By winning this match, Alex has set up a rematch that the entire tennis world has been waiting for. In the round of 32, she is going to face Swiatek, and for anyone who has been following Alex's story from the beginning, you already know why that matchup means so much. 12 months ago, on this very same court in Miami, Alex did something that nobody in tennis saw coming. She walked out onto that court as a relative unknown and beat Swiatek in the quarterfinals. She did not just win, she put on a performance that announced her to the global tennis community in the most dramatic way possible. That win is what started everything. It is why there are Philippine flags in stands all over the world every time Alex walks onto a court. It is why people in the Philippines who had never watched a tennis match in their lives suddenly started paying attention. It is why Eala became a phenomenon almost overnight. Miami is where it all began. And now, Swiatek is back. She is currently ranked number 3 in the world. She is the 2nd seed at this tournament. She has had an entire year to think about what happened between them in this city, and she is not the kind of player who takes a loss like that lightly. In fact, she got a measure of revenge in Madrid last year, which you know she took some satisfaction from. But doing it again in Miami, on the same courts where it all happened, would be something completely different. This is personal for Swiatek. You can be absolutely sure of that. But here's the thing. Alex is not the same player she was 12 months ago. She was special then, but she is better now. She has played bigger matches. She has handled bigger pressure situations. She has faced tricky opponents and come through. She has lost some tough ones too, and she has learned from every single one of them. And today, she dealt with the most frustrating, disruptive, psychologically targeted opponent you can possibly face in professional tennis, and she came through in 3 sets. If Siegemund's mind games, slices, and stalling could not break Alex, walking out to face a clean striker like Swiatek might almost feel like a relief by comparison. Alex herself has spoken about how much she has grown as a person and a player through everything that has happened over the past year. She said in a recent interview that the fame that has come with her success surprised her. She said it is hard to see yourself as famous when you have just been living your life the same way you always have. But she also said that once you get past the initial shock of it all, you start to really enjoy it. Because when there's a full stadium cheering for you, the atmosphere is completely different. It lifts you, it drives you, and she has clearly figured out how to use that energy instead of being overwhelmed by it. She talked about what it is like to go back to places she has been going to her whole life in the Philippines and suddenly have strangers coming up asking for photos. She said that walking around Quezon City feels normal to her, but being recognized at restaurants she has been visiting since she was a child is still something she is adjusting to. The way she talks about it tells you a lot about who she is. She is grounded. She is not swept away by the attention, but she is also not afraid of the spotlight anymore. She is ready for it. She is actually feeding off it. And in a match like the one against Swiatek, where every point is going to matter and the pressure is going to be enormous, that mental readiness is going to be just as important as anything that happens with her forehand or her serve. Alex also said something that really stuck with me because it speaks to what she represents beyond just tennis. She said she is happy that Filipinos are being exposed to the sport through her success. She said that at the end of the day, tennis has become a way for people to bond and show pride in their culture. That is a remarkable thing for a 20-year-old to carry, and the fact that she carries it with such grace and such genuine appreciation for what it means is one of the reasons people connect with her so deeply. Think about what is at stake from a pure tennis perspective too. If Alex wins that match, her ranking situation changes completely. Right now she's sitting around 50th in the world because she dropped 390 points when her Miami semifinals results from last year came off her rolling total. That drop was painful to watch in real time. But if she beats the second seed and reaches the round of 16, she will be back inside the top 30 before this tournament is even finished. The ranking drop will have been nothing more than a brief blip, a 48-hour story that got a lot of attention and then became irrelevant because she came back and earned her points right back in the same city where she earned them the first time. How poetic would that be?
But even beyond the rankings, even beyond the numbers and the points and where her name sits on a list, there is something bigger going on here. Alex Eala is becoming something that professional tennis has genuinely needed. She is becoming a story that goes beyond just wins and losses. She is giving a massive new audience a reason to care about this sport. She is proving that great players can come from anywhere, that tennis does not belong only to the countries and academies that have dominated it for decades. She is doing it with skill, with style, with grace under pressure, and with a humility and warmth that makes it impossible not to root for her. After today, the label of Filipino phenomenon feels almost too small for her. She is a veteran slayer. She is someone who can take a first-set loss against a tricky, experienced opponent and come back to win the next 2 sets convincingly. She is someone who can handle mind games and gamesmanship without losing her cool or her focus. She is someone who can play 3 hours of intense tennis in the Miami Heat and come out looking fresher than when she started. She is someone who takes the pressure of defending big points and uses it as fuel rather than letting it crush her. And she is someone who is 20 years old and has barely scratched the surface of what she is capable of. The Swiatek rematch is coming. It is going to be watched by millions of people across the Philippines and around the world. It is going to be one of the biggest moments in Alex's young career. And based on everything she showed today against Siegemund, based on the discipline and the patience and the mental strength and the sheer physical quality of her tennis, there is every reason to believe she is ready for it. She has the blueprint from last year. She knows these courts. She knows how to make Swiatek uncomfortable. She is battle-hardened from dealing with the worst gamesmanship the tour has to offer, and she has an entire stadium ready to scream for every point she wins. Miami magic is real, and it might be about to happen all over again. So here is what I want to know from you. Where does this win over Siegemund sit in the story of Alex's career so far? Is the drama she had to handle today, the gamesmanship, the mind games, the psychological pressure on top of the physical challenge, does that make this win more impressive than her Indian Wells run? And the big question, do you actually think she can beat Swiatek again? I think this goes 3 sets. I think it is going to be incredibly close, but I think that Miami magic is real, and I think Alex finds a way to do it again. Tell me your prediction in the comments. Let's get the debate going. And if you have been watching this whole video and you are not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We are here for every single point of this Miami run. The Swiatek breakdown is going to be one of the best videos we have ever made. We are talking full tactical analysis, the head-to-head history, what Alex needs to do differently, and what she needs to repeat from last year. Everything. You do not want to show up late for that one. Subscribe now, hit the bell, and let's watch history together. We are here for the journey, we are here for the moments, and we are here for Alex Eala.